Listen, I know what you want. I understand. I get it. You want to bench more weight because obviously, if you can bench press more, you are a better human being than 90% of the planet. I get it. Stop asking me. Today, I am going to tell you my 3 favorite accessory movements for how to build a bigger bench press so that you can look down with contempt on the lowly people that cannot bench as much as you can. I'm of the belief that to become better at something, you need to do that thing. I understand that you may not want to get under the bar and bench for the rest of your life. It is a good way to build a bigger bench press, but today we're going to talk about 3 accessory movements, and how I define accessory is little corollaries off of the main movement. So if you're benching, it's not going to be a chest press and a push-up. Those are great, but I would call those supplemental movements. Just a little definition for you. So the first accessory movement that I'm going to give you is the Larson Press. Again, a variation of the bench press. I absolutely love this movement because a lot of times when we see people fail the bench press, it's because of a general lack of strength off of the chest and because of a lack of stability. Well, guess what? The Larson Press is going to address both of those things. If you've never performed a Larson Press, it is very similar to a feet up bench press, but the main difference is that you're going to get into your competition setup, you're going to set your arch, set your upper back, and then as you unrack and wait for your first rep, you're going to kick your feet out. So the goal is to maintain the upper body structure of a competition bench press, but remove the leg drive. Another reason that I really like the Larson Press is that it is what is called a self-limiting variation of the bench press, meaning it is going to make the bench press more difficult, meaning that you're going to have to bring down relative intensity. You will not be able to 1 rep max the same amount of weight on your Larson Press that you do on your traditional bench press, and that's a good thing. You can now introduce another form of stimulus without having to overload you and kind of be tough on the joints, the shoulders, the wrists. You can get a great workout with the Larson Press with less weight than you would be doing with your traditional bench press. My approach to programming the Larson Press is as a secondary bench press day. I don't love using the Larson Press right after a set or sets of competition bench press, but I do like it as a beginning movement on a secondary supplemental chest and shoulder day. If you're a power lifter, you'll understand a secondary bench day is the day when you're really going to try and push a little bit more volume and work a little bit more on technique. The one big issue with the Larson Press is that because it is a self-limiting and technique-changing style of movement, you may not want to employ this very close to competition. I love a Larson Press in an off-season or at the beginning hypertrophy block of a competition prep, but as you get closer and closer to competition, specificity is king, and that's going to go for all of these accessory movements. You want to basically be competition bench pressing within 4 to 6 weeks of your competition. Makes a lot of sense, just wanted to let you know. From a self-limiting variation, we are going to go to an overloading variation, and that is the pin press. I cannot say enough good things about the pin press, and I don't think a lot of people do it because it does require a little bit of setup time. My definition of a pin press is a bench press style movement in which you have set up pins or racks to stop the movement from going all the way to the chest like a traditional bench press. So as you can see here, I'm stopping about an inch and a half off of my chest, trying to allow the weight to come to a dead stop, and then pressing from a dead stop. So why employ the pin press? Well, it is a fantastic way to overload the bench press. Because of a shorter range of motion, you may find that you're able to do a little bit more weight for more reps. Really cool, a way to understand how to handle heavier weights that will hopefully carry over to your traditional competition bench press. Another fantastic way to employ the pin press is if you are noticing a sticking point, maybe halfway off the chest or at lockout, you can set the pins to that point, start your press from a dead stop, and really overemphasize that sticking point. Again, hoping that that technique practice will then carry over to your competition bench. Personally, where the Larson Press comes in as a tool to enhance volume, the pin press comes in as a tool to enhance intensity. So you may be programming high volume on a Larson Press. I would recommend higher intensity, maybe lower volume on a pin press. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is just the way that I like to do it. I love pin press in doubles and triples to really overload the weight, get a feel for how that weight feels in your hands, and really push through sticking points when you have a heavy 1 rep max attempt. Usually a sticking point is not going to show itself in a volume set where you're doing 6 to 8 with submaximal loads. Sticking points come up when you are going for these heavy doubles and these heavy singles. So I like training that same style when we're using this accessory. Our third and final bench press accessory or variation is going to be the Spotto Press, another unsung hero in the fantastic arsenal of building a bigger bench press. The Spotto Press is defined as a competition bench press in which you pause by yourself, so you have no assistance like the pin press, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches off of your chest. This is a spectacular movement to just enhance overall control in the lift. If you have to lower the weight under control, pause at a specific time, and then press the weight, the demands put on you are way more intensive than a normal competition bench press, and that is why I like it. If you train for a competition bench press with a variation that is harder than a competition bench press, you're gonna have the Rock Lee effect. If you're walking around with heavy weights and then you take those heavy weights off, you're gonna be kicking faster than you can believe. Another fundamental benefit of the Spotto Press is enhanced muscular endurance. This means that we are increasing the time under tension because we are bringing weight down, usually in a more controlled manner. That's gonna increase our time under that load. Our pause is also gonna go a long way in increasing time under that load. I love utilizing a long pause Spotto Press. So instead of just coming down to a pause and immediately pressing, we come down to the pause, take a second, and then press. This is a killer, but it is a fantastic movement to build muscular endurance, overall technique, and it's just a fun way to increase your bench press. Obviously, all of these variations have their time to be employed and their time to be pulled out of a program. But if you employ these variations as well as a myriad other variations that you can find, you will increase your bench press. There's a time for them, and there's a time for training just the bench press. Intelligent programming will include these at some points and not include them at others, based on your goals, your needs, the equipment that's available to you. But these 3 are my 3 favorite and my go-to in my own programming. So there you go, you're well on your way of becoming a better person than everybody else around you. Hopefully soon you'll be able to bench press more than your boss, and that way you'll own the company. These are all great tools to get you stronger. Now that the bench press is taken care of, we can talk about a real lift and figure out how to increase our squat. Click on this video right here if you want to learn more about that. You can tell I'm a little bit biased. The bench is terrible. Squat every day, all day. Get strong and stay strong.